The space game genre continues to surprise with yet another batch of upcoming titles that are doing things very differently from one another. Most of these look very strong indeed and are doing things that recent AAA space games have been unable to achieve. Now, some of these were shown at the Convergence Games Showcase yesterday, as well as the Indie Fan Fest. Others, meanwhile, had trailers released over the past week or so. What this means is we have 5 games that each take a completely distinct approach to what a space game can be. From cinematic planetary survival backed by an actual space agency, to building medieval spaceships out of wood and launching them into orbit. Let's start then with the Star Wrath. Now this is a bit more of a traditional space game because you're here in a cockpit and you're involved in dogfighting. In fact, dogfighting is what it's all about. This is going to be apparently a free-to-play multiplayer game. The setup is that Earth has been destroyed. There we go again. Earth is always at the centre here of being in the big problems. And humanity is scattered across various different space stations, and there's no more laws. You build your own modular spacecraft, you head out on raids, you fight other players as well as AI enemies for resources, and then try to extract with your loot before someone destroys you. Now, there's been a range of combat-focused space games recently. This one does look really nice actually, and in my mind, to me at least, this does look like something out of a AA studio at the very least. They've gone for some really nice aesthetics here, and visually I think it's quite distinct. We've got some good graphics going on here. So right at the centre of the game, the core of it is surrounding shipbuilding. Every module you attach affects the ship's mass, inertia, speed and manoeuvrability. So that means you can go nimble as a nimble interceptor, or you can go heavy and have an armed and armoured ship. Now the devs are also keen to point out that every section of the ship can be independently damaged, and that means you can end up with the hull being completely stripped down, and well, yeah, you can imagine the catastrophe there. The game also has a progression system, and this is essentially the player getting new skills, leveling up via editing their DNA. In terms of the environment, you'll find a variety of different space anomalies out there, as well as nebula, and these could all play a role in how things play out. Next up then, we have Aphelion. What immediately is interesting for a couple of reasons about this game is that, well, first it's from Don't Nod, the studio behind Life is Strange. Second, and this is the part that really caught my attention, the game has been developed in collaboration with the European Space Agency. So that's not a marketing gimmick either here, and for what it's worth, I do have access to this title and will be releasing videos on this very soon indeed. So, as I said, the ESA have been involved with this, and basically they're just there to try and keep things authentic. And that should be apparent, hopefully at least, as you play the game and move across the world of Persephone, a frozen planet at the edge of the solar system. The ESA sends out 2 astronauts, Ariane and Thomas. The ship crashes on arrival. Unfortunately, you're separated from each other, and it's then your goal to, well, 2 goals here, find each other and complete the mission. But judging by the footage we can see on the screen here, things aren't quite as straightforward as they perhaps could be, and there's a number of problems and complications in the way. Now, the devs point out that the 2 protagonists do play somewhat different to each other. One is focused on action, climbing and things like that. The other one is slower because they've been injured, and they're a little bit more narrative-driven and investigative. Based upon what we've seen on the trailer, the visuals look really beautiful, and the story should be really nice as well. Like I say, I do have access to this, going to be playing it very soon, so do keep an eye out for that. Next up, we come to Brightest Star. Now, the premise is that humanity has made a major technological leap and is seriously exploring the solar system. You play as a spaceship pilot with a corporate contract, and you're assigned to deliver cargo from Pluto to Earth, so yeah, quite a long journey there, to put it mildly. It looks like, in terms of the narrative, things go wrong, some various different things happen, and you end up with someone unwelcome aboard your ship. As you move through the game, apparently there's going to be a variety of different things you'll encounter, and yes, that means the game is choice-driven with multiple different endings. There's a dialogue system going on here for understanding character motives and interactions. There's a lot of themes here around transhumanism as well, time travel, consciousness, really some deep sci-fi speculative points that we don't often see in modern sci-fi, so yeah, I'm kind of pleased to see these going into a game here. Also, a demo is planned for before release, so yeah, we're really looking forward to trying that out. Now, Atmosfar is something very different. I love the play on atmosphere here. The title is Atmosfar. It's an open-world survival game, but instead of being set on the ground or in space, it's set in the sky. Now, I class this as a space game because it's very strongly sci-fi themed, and of course it's related to, well, pretty much spaceships as well. So you're set on a planet called Tychos, which is made up entirely of floating islands. You play as a vagabond, a lone engineer exploring Tychos from the cockpit of a flying craft called a Wasp. Now, there are 4 classes of Wasp, each with different abilities. The utility Wasp deploys a foldable camp, I guess. The cargo Wasp airlifts heavy materials up into the air and wherever you need them. The Scout Wasp surveys terrain, and the Fighter Wasp handles combat. And you can swap out engine parts, other sections and entire hulls to configure each one to whatever suits your preference. But more than that, there's also a cloud cruiser, and this is a large, slow-moving mobile airbase that acts as your home. It kind of hangs there. It's a hangar for your Wasps as well, and it's a bridge for navigation. There's a laboratory, a greenhouse and a lounge. The interior is of course fully customizable through base building mechanics. Interested to see how these kind of play out, because they can be a bit hit and miss with a lot of different games, but if done right, they can certainly give you, well, a lot of investment in your base and make it very much feel like a home. Now, over the past years, perhaps the past decade or so, there's of course been absolutely tons of survival games. This one does kind of stand out to me, partly because of its aesthetic. It's quite, well, should we say it's quite unique, I guess. It's very interesting looking, but also due to the fact that it's also got a pretty neat setting here. Floating around on these floating islands should give for a pretty decent environment. Looking forward to testing this one out. It will be available as a demo starting in the Steam Next Fest, available from the 23rd of February onwards. And then we come to something quite different indeed. Many of you might be aware of the game called Besiege. This was a physics-based medieval siege engine builder that was turned up quite a while ago. At this point, it's quite an old game, but they've got a new big update, and it's set to go to space. So how this works is you build machines out of wood, metal wheels and various different other medieval components, and then use them to destroy castles, armies, or anything else that gets in your way. The game arrived around about 2015, I do believe. Like I say, it's quite old, and at this point it's a pretty well-established game. There's a new update on the way. It's called The Broken Beyond, and the creative direction here is actually quite a twist, and it looks to be inspired from a variety of different things, including Da Vinci, Jules Verne, and a few other things as well. So what's it all about? Well, right here is where it gets quite interesting. You've got all of these medieval type facilities and contraptions, and you've got to build a ship that can get up into space. But not only that, it goes quite a bit further. There's a campaign where you'll travel between planets, and the Steam page here says you'll be unleashing destruction upon new alien foes. So another title definitely worth keeping an eye on, because this one has the potential to be a lot of fun. There we have it then, a whole bunch of new space games on the way, various different categories of the space game theme, but many of these I do feel have the potential to achieve things that AAA games, AAA space games, generally haven't been able to achieve or haven't tried to achieve as yet. Looking forward to seeing how all of these play out. Let me know which ones grab your attention the most. I'd love to hear from you. There is another video on the screen right here, and thanks for watching this one. Do take care, and I'll catch you next time.